Once again, hello from Habano. I'm still at the trade fair here in El Palacio de las Convenciones, and I'm very happy to have Colin Ganley here with me. He's editor-in-chief of the Cigar Journal. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun here in Havana. It's the trade fair is exciting. I'm glad to see you guys here.
Thanks a lot. So I'd like to ask you some question about cigar storage. So first of all, do you prefer to smoke fresh cigars, or do you prefer to smoke aged cigars?
I think cigars need to be at the right climate. They need to whether they're a young cigar or an old cigar, they need to have the right climate inside the cigar. Mm-hmm. All the leaves need to have the same level of humidity. So, for example, here at the festival, we're smoking a lot of brand new cigars, fresh off the rolling table. And the problem with that is some of the leaves are different humidities. Mm-hmm. And so even with a very fresh cigar, I like to give it some time for the humidity to match inside the cigar. Personally, I prefer cigars with at least 3 years of age, but usually more like 5 to 10.
Okay, so what is so special about aging or about aged cigars? When you say you prefer to smoke 3 or last 5-year-old cigars, what is so special and what is the difference of these cigars from fresh cigars?
Well, particularly when we're talking about Habanos as we are this week, there's something about giving them a little bit of time to mature, for the oils in the leaves to marry. For example, the very strong Ligero leaves have a lot of oil, and if you give it enough time, they'll mix with the leaves, with the oils in the secos and the volados, and it changes the character of the cigar a little bit. You also have a little bit of what's called micro-fermentation inside a cigar, which is a very, very tiny amount of fermentation that happens, which means the water goes away and that fresh, harsh taste can disappear. So those are two of the major reasons I prefer cigars a little bit older.
Okay, thank you. So would you also recommend every cigar novice to age cigars, to store them for a certain time to have the bigger enjoyment on them?
I think so. I mean, the easiest thing to do is to talk to the person selling you the cigar, mm-hmm. and ask them for some cigars that have been there for a while, because most cigar retailers have a nice humidor and they're keeping the cigars in the right condition. The newer cigars may not be perfect. The ones that have been there for a year or 2 years mm-hmm. are probably in a better condition. So that's the easiest way to start. But when you buy a box of cigars, what I recommend people do is put it inside their humidor mm-hmm. and let it rest, let it have the perfect climate for a little while, whether that's 1 week or a month, which is much better, okay. or a few years. You're going to appreciate a difference, most likely.
Okay. Well, you said they should put it in the humidor, but I think that's not all. So what to consider when buying a humidor or when storing cigars in a humidor, because you need a certain humidity and so on.
Of course.
To consider.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially a very simple thing, right? The idea that you would just need to have the right humidity and temperature mm-hmm. inside the humidor. It's simple, right? Except that it's not that easy to do. You need to make sure that you have a box. Usually the thicker the wood that the box is made of, the better. And you need to make sure that the climate inside the box is kept at a consistent humidity level and temperature. So the temperature you'll probably control by the temperature of your room that you're keeping the box in. But for example, don't keep the humidor so that the sunlight is hitting it. Yeah. And also don't keep it where an air conditioner is hitting it. Mm-hmm. You want it to have a nice gentle climate. A wine cellar is perfect, but most people don't have a wine cellar. So just put it in a nice dark place in the room where it's not being hit by the ventilation. Then inside the humidor you need to maintain your humidity, mm-hmm. Which can be done in a lot of different ways with active systems, passive systems. I'm not sure exactly which products you guys sell, but as long as you make sure that you keep the right humidity level, and that's a little bit different for everyone. For me, I prefer a humidity level around 65%. Some people prefer a higher humidity level. Usually the range is between about 63 and 70% humidity is what most people like.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. So my last question now is, how are you storing your cigars at home, and how many do you have at home?
I try to store as many of my cigars as possible at the office because we have a gigantic walk-in humidor there. But at home I have probably 10 or 12, desktop humidors and small humidors. I probably, just at home, maybe, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 cigars about.
So you also have some large tabletop humidors, I guess.
I can walk inside 2 of my humidors.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate that. I think it was quite interesting for cigar newbies as well as for aficionados that really know something about cigars. So thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Let me just interrupt you for 1 second.
Yes.
In Cigar Journal, we actually have someone who writes about cigar storage and humidor maintenance in every single issue. Okay. So if anybody watching is interested, check out Cigar Journal, because every issue we address a different topic about humidification and humidor. So it's, once you get your beautiful humidor, we can provide you with all the tips necessary to have the perfect climate. So thanks for letting me talk to you.
Great, thanks a lot. Have a good time, and perhaps see you tonight.
Okay.
Thanks.